Hi guys. So this is a very exciting package. I'll talk after I open the package because where my camera is sitting, very unstable. Ooh, this is scary actually. So recently I've been going through a phase where I'm trying to sell stuff that I really feel like has no purpose in my life anymore. And a lot of them is clothes and shoes that I bought maybe years ago or recently when I bought a lot of overpriced shit. So I listed all of that on eBay. Actually, a lot of my stuff hasn't really sold yet because I'm trying to be stingy on the price, because I'm not really in a rush to sell the stuff, so I don't want to sell them where it's super cheap for other people to buy. Some of the stuff I'm trying to sell is worth a lot of money, so I don't want to let them go for less than a certain amount. So anyways, I was thinking about my violin also because my parents brought it to me in February of this year. And I was just thinking, I looked at my violin, the brand and the model, and it's actually worth a fair amount. A new violin for mine is kind of around like $1,800, I would say. And since it's used, I could probably get at least $1,000 for it. But at the same time, man, I'm looking at the side and my cat's messed up my laundry sitting above my dryer, and I am sorry I keep glancing at it because it is pissing me off and I don't want to be bothered by seeing that, because there are so many different things that I come home to that I definitely think it's Milo. He has the personality for that, so I come home to things and I see things that Milo did and it pisses me off and I'm just, okay, I'll try not to look at it. But anyways, yeah, so I figured that I probably shouldn't sell my violin because it has ties to my childhood, and even if they aren't positive things, I still felt very weird to sell my violin for profit if, my parents spent so much money on violin lessons, we spent so much money on the violin itself, so it just didn't feel right to sell it. So I figured if I'm not gonna sell it, then I could try to play it more once in a while. So when they came here in February, they did bring me some sheet music, but they didn't bring me that many. And I feel like out of the sheet music they brought me, I only enjoy playing a few of them. So I called my dad a couple weeks ago and asked him if he could ship all of the violin sheet music we have at home. We have a lot because I played violin private lessons, I think, for at least 7 years, something long like that. So I was like, don't just leave it sitting at home. If Victor doesn't want any of the sheet music, can you please just mail it all to me? So it took them a while to mail it to me for some reason, but I finally got it today. Wow, so much bubble wrap. So I don't even remember what this is from because we played on several orchestras growing up, private orchestras, not the ones from school. And they would be orchestras where we would have to drive to a different county and we would have practice in the evenings after school and stuff. So it's actually really cool to see these pieces because I'll have to really remember what they sounded like. There are so many in here. I'm actually really excited. Maybe I will move it to, I don't know, this might be the best place to show it off. So we have sheet music that looks like this. It's super confusing though, obviously, just based on cover. I'm not going to recognize what music is going to be in these books. So we have a lot of them that look like this. A lot of these are actually piano parts. It says it on the front. So let's put this down here. And now we have a Chinese violin book. So yeah, the main reason I asked my parents to mail me sheet music is because it is really hard to find sheet music for free online, good sheet music. I'm talking challenging music because there are a fair amount of free sheet music out there for songs I'm familiar with, but the sheet music for it is very basic and simple, and it would not be fun for me to play something easy. I want to play something difficult. So buying sheet music can be pretty costly, I feel like, up to $10 nearly per book. And that's not something I really want to be spending money on. So since we had so many from me playing growing up, it just felt like a good idea for them to send it to me, because all of this adds up to a lot of money. Wow, flute music. So I definitely played a fair amount of instruments growing up. Flute was actually the instrument I chose out of interest. Violin and piano were both things that my parents chose for me, obviously. So when it came to the flute, I actually tried out the oboe for a short while, and I also had interest in the piccolo, but I didn't end up playing the piccolo. All right, so there's just a lot of books in here, you know, so it's gonna be really cool to look through which one of these I want to play. So one thing I really want to do is to find songs that I really enjoy and spend time practicing them whenever I feel like it, and then hopefully I'll get to a point where I feel like I'm good enough at playing it, and then maybe I'll record me playing the entire song and I'll make it into a video or something like that. I know that sounds very, very optimistic, because the chances of me consistently wanting to practice a specific song during my free time is probably slim compared to doing other hobbies. Just having them here might be good encouragement, and it could still be good fun if I do it in short spurts at a time. So yeah, finally I got my violin music from home. Yay. All right, I gave her a bully stick, and in the meantime, here is my dinner, a Muir Hot Pocket and some coconut water. And I have all of my violin sheet music laid out that I just received, and I'm going to sort through them, probably put the music that I'm not interested back in the box over there, and then I'll just put the ones that I actually want to play off to the side, and then I will probably try playing some tonight while the excitement is still high. It is hot in here. I need to turn the AC on. I don't know why it's hot. I should have taken off my jacket before I started driving. Right now it is Thursday and I am heading back to the office. Tomorrow we have another team lunch, and this time we are going to a Brazilian steakhouse. I've been there before twice with Shane, so I'm very familiar with the restaurant. It's pretty cool where they come around and bring slices of meat for you to try out, and I'm definitely fond of it. It's just that, at least for lunch, it is $25 per person, which is way more than I ever want to spend for a meal generally, but I always just get this feeling that I can't not go. Nowadays, whenever we have team lunches, I'm just kind of not thrilled about it, because it is money spent on food that I normally would not have spent in that way. Obviously, spending on food out at times can still be a little tough, because sometimes it gets a little boring eating what I cook all the time, and even if it is most cost efficient, it is unrealistic for me to 100% cut out eating out. So, an update on my car, because this month I am really unhappy with how much I ended up spending on my car. So on Monday I brought my car to Alpine. They did say that my auxiliary battery, the 12-volt one, was not producing enough power, so that was affecting the startup for my car, and they quoted me saying that with labor and the part and just getting everything installed, it would cost $280. So at first I thought that he meant everything, the cost for that day was $280, but when you add in, when you add in diagnosis, then it ends up being $370 for the work being done. So overall this month I spent like $630 on my car, and that doesn't make me happy. That's way more than I needed to, especially because I wasted so much money at the dealership. I guess the good thing is that I do believe my problem is solved, so I should not be having car issues for a while. But another thing I will have to consider is that soon the main battery on my Prius is going to start failing, because I've had this car for 6 years. I remember when I first bought it, it was mentioned that, you know, what point am I gonna have to replace my battery? How much is it gonna cost? And I haven't gotten exact numbers for it yet, but I kind of anticipate that it will cost close to $5,000. That is a huge, just random guess for me. So it could be much less, it could be much more, I have no idea. But I was thinking about it, and even though this is hopefully not something I have to deal with for years, I'm hoping, I was thinking that if it comes time to replace the battery of this car, I would not want to spend thousands of dollars on a car that is already 6+ years old. So I have been a big fan of Tesla for a while now, and I really like the Model 3. The problem with that is I was looking at the car online, and if you do a $5,000 down payment and you do upgrades, so they have several options, but the main ones I will talk about is they have a cheapest option for the car, which is the low range battery, which is 260-mile range, and I don't care about acceleration, so whatever to that number. Or there is also a long range battery with dual motor, and that one is 310 miles and it adds $7,000. The performance model is even more, but I did not even bother looking at that price because I'm definitely not going to buy a performance model. So that's $7,000 extra. Then it comes the color, which sucks because the two colors I like are white and red. White adds $2,000, red adds $2,500. And then they have an option for, I forget what it's called, basically the autopilot system thing. If you add that on when you buy the car, that's $5,000. If you wait until later to install it, that is $7,000. So you might as well just do it when you buy the car, right? So if you add all of that stuff together, their interest rate is 3.99%. And if you do $5,000 down payment, the payment turns out to be close to $900, like $890 or something, which is kind of insanely high. This is over a 72-month period, so that is a lot of freaking money for a car payment, and I have definitely been loving life without any car payments whatsoever. I paid off my car last October, so that's definitely the downside. That's kind of why hopefully my car is gonna last me a while, because even though when I was doing my research, yes, it is very exciting to think about having a Model 3 because I love the car, and I like the idea of it being electric a lot, you know, just charging it overnight at your house, never going to a gas station again. I hate going to the gas station. So all of those are big perks for me, and it's exciting to own that car, but the payment will definitely be quite insane. So that's just something that I've been thinking about, but like I said, I do hope this car lasts me a very, very long time because I do really like my Prius. I love driving it. I feel like it's so easy to control, and I like that it's small a lot and it makes parking very easy. I get amazing mileage on this car. On a full tank of gas, you can get around up to 600 miles, but I'd say it's probably closer to 550. So I am so excited that I have been saving so much money on gas all of these years. It's a lot of money if you think about it. I have been paying roughly $30, a little bit higher, like maybe $32 for a full fill up. And then if you also take into account my bike, which is also amazingly fuel efficient, that my bike, the instruments actually tells me that I get like 70 miles per gallon. So every time I fill up my bike, it's like $6, which is crazy good considering how long I can ride on that $6. So I love the idea of having an efficient car, and a Tesla will be very similar, I would say, in terms of how far you're able to get on a charge. Plus, if you charge at any of their stations around the US, I don't think they charge you for that. So it could still be a decent road trip car as well. Okay, holy shit guys. I am in my car on Thursday night. I am wanting to go home. It is 6:50 already, nearly 7 o'clock, and there's still a lot of red on my drive home. So I just really don't want to sit through that. So I think I might just go get some bubble tea. Okay, I am home. I will have to say that today has been the most random hard rain we have had since I've been here. This is the hardest it has rained, and it was a challenge getting home because I was waiting at the office for as long as I could to see the traffic go away. But the thing is, Google Maps showed that it was red, but me driving home just now, I would not consider it red unless it was bumper to bumper, which it wasn't. It was actually moving, so it wasn't that bad. But to try to burn off some time, I went to get some bubble tea, which was kind of not even that enjoyable because the parking lot around that area was so flooded. I had to step in some puddles that went up to my ankles, so my shoes and my socks were completely wet, drenched, and I also got sprayed by cars a few times. So I took off my shoes and I drove with my foot on the gas on the way home. That was a little weird. Tomorrow, in the very early morning, there is a very low-key kind of Dota tournament that is LAN. It's in Russia, but it has the best teams there. So I am really looking forward to watching all of these games. VP plays at 5 in the morning, and I intend on waking up for that. So it is like 7:30 right now. I'll probably try to sleep around 9 o'clock if that's even possible. I'll try. I mean, I'll get in bed and see if it works out or not, but maybe this whole rain thing kind of made me tired, and hopefully I will still be able to sleep pretty decently. If not, whatever, not a big deal. Tomorrow is Friday, and I have my work lunch, so technically I bet I'll only be in the office tomorrow for like 3 hours at most. Okay, so I had a scare the past few days, well, more like 2 days, but yesterday when I tried to plug in my camera to my computer, it kept saying check the connected device, and I started imagining that my micro USB port on my camera is messed up, mainly because in the past there were a few times where it was charging on the wall plug, and then I would grab my camera and forget that it was plugged in, so it would be kind of like an abrupt jerk of the cable out of the socket, and I just feel like a few times of that could really mess it up. So I was at first really concerned that my camera couldn't transfer files to my computer anymore. So I was like, no, I have all these files and I have all these recordings and I can't do anything with it. But it turns out that it's just that the front ports, USB ports on my computer, I noticed in the past that there was maybe like 1 or 2 that don't actually work. So I feel like that is kind of what happened. So when I switched the port, I was able to transfer, and that is such a relief. I would have not been thrilled about needing my camera repaired after having this whole month messed up because of my car. But it is Friday night, and earlier after I got home from the work gathering I took Riley for a nice long walk, and then I went straight to bed for a nap because I was awake since 5 in the morning, so I was pretty tired by then. The work gathering was pretty interesting. I mean, it was pretty enjoyable. I didn't stay very long, and I also rode because I did not want to deal with potential traffic at all compared to last time. So that was kind of interesting. It is definitely uncomfortable wearing motorcycle gear in a restaurant, but it was kind of cool. It was the first time that I rode downtown and parked my bike in public like that. Not gonna lie, since I got my bike, I have not gone anywhere but work or joyriding. So I usually park it in a parking lot and it's not there for very long. So parking it along the street downtown made me kind of nervous because I do not trust people, and I know that people are capable of just being so inconsiderate that they'll just see a stranger's bike and they'll go sit on it, or they'll freaking touch it and just molest it and do all these things. I don't just find it worthwhile for myself because I get full very quickly, and then after a while it just doesn't feel like it was worth the $31. I have been there twice already with Shane, so this was the third time, and I just don't think it's worth my money. I don't do well with buffet type of places because it's basically all the meat you can eat, and then they have a little buffet section. So it's a pretty decent, it's a nice restaurant, but I just don't eat all I can eat because I hate the feeling of discomfort from eating too much. So there, I knew I was reaching a point already, so I stopped very early. But when you stop early, when it's an all-you-can-eat type of thing, never feels good. But this is very random, but I was really excited to eat some papaya they had there because I remember in the past my parents would always buy papaya, and I would always be so excited to eat that because it's so good. I actually haven't chosen to buy papaya yet because it's quite expensive. At Sprouts, it's like $4 for one, and I just worry that I'll buy it and it won't taste good, and then that's like $4 down the drain for one fruit. So I had some papaya there, and that just made me excited because it brought me back to my childhood and my parents always getting it for me cutting it in half and using a spoon to pick out the seeds and stuff. I'm just cooking some dinner right now because my fish was going to expire, my salmon, and I probably hope to sleep, I guess, within 2 hours. I don't know if that's possible because I took a nap, but Dota is going to be on at 4 a.m., at least the match that I want to watch. So I want to wake up for it. It's going to be LGD versus VP. Both of my teams are in the lower bracket, but this is a small tournament. There were only 6 teams, so people are going to get eliminated very quickly. I will probably just close this vlog here, mainly because I'm surprised to find out that I can actually make it. I'm happy that my camera is not busted because it's been over a year, and I have not been the most gentle user of my camera, more like I don't have a case for it, so if I put it in my backpack, there might be stuff that could possibly scratch the screen. Hopefully not, but I don't know. Okay, bye.